Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents to ask their foster children for help instead of me? My 34M life could have been okay growing up except that my parents wanted to be good people. So they became foster parents. I think that was noble of them. Those kids needed help. The downside was that I got ignored. I got less attention than those kids because I was independent and didn't need the help. Gifts from my grandparents became gifts for the family. My grandparents put a stop to that by not buying me gifts but taking me out for instead. I got to go see movies and taken out for meals and weekend trips with my grandparents. My dad's folks took me to Disneyland and my mom's mom and dad took me to NYC. My parents tried to get the money for this stuff given to me, them, instead. I begged my grandparents to do that. I left the house when I was 17. I graduated early and got into a trade. My grandfather was in the union and he got me in. I've been at it for 17 years now and I'm doing okay. My parents are not. They ran themselves ragged taking in all those kids. Even the money they got wasn't enough to make up for their sacrifices. They asked me for help and I said no. I know that if I give them money they will just waste it on the kids they took in after I left. I told them that they had a plethora of foster kids that they could ask for money. My mom said she was disappointed in me and that she thought she had raised me better. I said I raised myself from about 8 years old onward. My grandparents are tapped out too. My parents already owe them so much money. My wife says she understands how I feel but thinks I'm being mean. My mom thinks I am holding a grudge from childhood. I refuse to speak with my father. But I assume he is still giving my old things to the new kids. Top comments. Not the a-hole. Your parents ignored you and tried to take money from you. You are not holding a grudge from childhood. You are simply recognizing a pattern, that they never made you a priority. They were irresponsible in their financial planning by taking in so many kids. That's not your problem. Tell your wife I do not think you are being mean. You just don't want to be taken advantage of. Friends of mine were active fosterers as their kids were growing up. Every time they got that call, they would have a family meeting to discuss if they should accept the kids. Any of their children could veto it. I think they did sometimes, but their children were partners in their fostering. One foster child became a permanent member of their family. Not adopted, because they had a loving parent, but they couldn't conquer their substance abuse. Tragically, that foster kid died in a random traffic collision when she was living with her grandparents in her 20s. I went to the funeral, and it was heartbreaking yet reassuring to see the kids mourning as if they had lost a sibling, which they had. I just wanted to share this, because it's an amazing family. They may have helped as many kids as the OP's parents. Or maybe more, because they modeled a healthy family dynamic. OP's parents may have provided food and shelter, but they showed the fostered children a different way to damage children from what they experienced at home. Not the a-hole. It isn't your job to support them. There are limits and they'll have to realize that. If they can't afford to take in so many kids, and the payments for the foster kids do not make up the difference, then they will simply have to take in fewer. That's fine. It isn't great for the kids for them to massively overextend themselves anyways. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's girl best friend she can't host my baby shower? I, 22F, and my husband, 23M, got married young. I was 18, he was 19. Both of us knew we always wanted to get married and start a family young. I started college 2 years ago, and he just graduated with a Bachelor of Biomedical Science. My husband has a girl best friend, 23F, who I'll call Sam, who he met in college. Both of them grew up Baptist, and while he's left the church, they had a very similar childhood and bonded quite quickly. Despite what you may be thinking, her and I got along really well. She and I liked the same music and we were both studying in relatively the same fields, so she became a friend of mine as well. Since I found out I was pregnant though, some issues have started to arise. We announced our pregnancy on social media after we told our parents. Sam texted my husband a congrats text and then told him to pass on her well wishes to me. She's been texting him non-stop with baby advice and what she likes to call advice for mama, which includes sometimes relatively targeted jabs at what I should eat. Honestly, I kept brushing the texts off, but it got a point where the conversations were less about the baby and more about me, which I was getting increasingly uncomfortable with because she wasn't texting me, she was texting my husband. My husband acknowledged this and has just started to show them to me and ask what I want him to do. I just told him to ignore them. When I announced I was having a baby shower and sent out the invites, I received a text from Sam. She said something along the lines of wanting to host my baby shower and set it up. I told her politely that my mom was planning on hosting it with the help of my sister and that it was a special moment for them and I wouldn't want to take that away. Well, Sam ignored that message, because the next day, she came over and insisted we start working out arrangements for the venue. I told her once again, my mom and sister were hosting it and she told me that she should take her advice and let her plan it because she'd ensure that the baby shower would be better if she planned it, particularly because she'd be working on the menu. Whether it was pregnancy hormones or just bottled up rage, I told her that the jabs she'd been making at me behind my back about my diet during this pregnancy to my husband are really annoying, at that no, she cannot host this shower, and from now on her unsolicited advice was not appreciated, especially if she can't say it to my face. That night my husband's phone blew up with messages from Sam saying that he had no right to show her those messages and they were just supposed to just be health tips because Sam was studying nutritional science and only wanted to help her best friend and ensure a happy baby and life. I know she had somewhat good intentions and she's been a good friend to my husband and to me, so am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. Sam overstepped massively, to the point where it's clear she has more than platonic feelings for your husband. If Sam was truly your friend, she would text you directly. Listen to you. Understand that advice doesn't have to be taken. Not make this about her. Not be upset when you get shown the advice that should be meant for you. It's clear Sam doesn't understand that there needs to be boundaries in the friendship. You and your husband have to be firm about what those boundaries are. This can't be a you thing or a him thing, you both have to be united in this. Not the a-hole, your instincts are right on this one. If the two of you got along so well, why wasn't Sam texting you directly with all her helpful advice? This woman sounds like she is trying to insert herself between you and your husband in a really nasty, manipulative way. I think you need to have a serious discussion with your husband about boundaries. What did husband say after his phone blew up? Your husband had no right to show you those messages. I assume Sam isn't married. Healthy relationships don't have secrets. You are not the a-hole. He needs to cut her off. You know what's bad for the baby, stress, and she's adding to it. Your husband needs to set boundaries with his friend now before he starts looking like an a-hole. When the baby comes, neither of you will have time to entertain a third party because you'll be exhausted. She sounds borderline crazy. Make sure she doesn't try to hurt you and keep her far away from the baby. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister to my wedding after she ruined my proposal? I, 29M, recently got engaged to my girlfriend, 28F, and it was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of our lives. I had planned a romantic proposal at our favorite spot, a secluded beach where we had our first date. I had everything ready, flowers, a small picnic, and a photographer hiding nearby to capture the moment. When the day came, my sister, 32F, insisted on tagging along. She said she wanted to take a few candid photos of us before the proposal. I was hesitant but agreed, thinking it might make the moment more special. Big mistake. As we reached the spot, my sister started acting weird, making snarky comments and trying to direct the whole scene like a movie. My girlfriend could sense something was off, and the mood was getting ruined. Then, out of nowhere, my sister grabbed the ring box from my pocket and yelled, "Surprise! Look what he's going to do." My girlfriend was shocked, and I was furious. I managed to salvage the proposal somewhat, but the moment was tainted. My girlfriend said yes, but we both felt the proposal was ruined. Later, I confronted my sister, and she just laughed it off, saying she was just trying to help and that I was overreacting. Fast forward to our wedding planning, and my fiancé and I decided not to invite my sister. We wanted our day to be about us, without any unnecessary drama. When my family found out, they were furious. My parents called me heartless, and my sister is playing the victim, saying I'm tearing the family apart over a little joke. Now I'm feeling conflicted. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister to my wedding after she ruined my proposal? Edit, here are a few other, not so minor, instances in which my sister has done me wrong. Top comments. What she did is so ludicrous that my first reaction was that perhaps this post isn't real, no one could be that obtuse. I don't blame you one bit for not wanting her at your wedding, you already made the mistake of allowing her to come along to the proposal. Not the a-hole. She just laughed it off, saying she was just trying to help. What might she try to do to help at the wedding if she went? My parents called me heartless. Perhaps your parents are part of the problem and have always enabled her behavior? What's the joke? And how was she helping? Your sister is beyond out of line. I'm so sorry you have to deal with her nonsense. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for trying to get my husband to recover from his surgery at his parents' house instead of helping him myself? 1 week ago I had a traumatic delivery. After pushing for over 6 hours I had to have an emergency C-section and delivered our first baby. On top of the pain from the C-section, I pulled my back out from pushing for so long and the doctors told me I had the worst vaginal swelling they've ever seen, so recovering from that wasn't fun at all either. A couple days before my due date he fractured his ankle at a softball game and got surgery for it yesterday. I'm in so much pain from breast to toes, and since I didn't have as much help from him I was forced to do a lot way too quickly, which hindered my own recovery. It's hard enough having a newborn rely on me, which I've been managing fine, but having my husband whine about how much pain his ankle is in and having to cater to him would not be good for my own mental health, and I think he will heal way quicker if he just toughs out his hardest days with his parents so his mom can take care of him. The baby doesn't rely on him right now, and it doesn't matter to the baby that he won't be here, even though I know he misses the baby and I understand why he wants to be here. I know that it's my job as his wife to care for him, and I wish I had more sympathy for what he's going through, but the lack of support I've felt during my pregnancy and delivery and postpartum has just made me kind of numb to it all. That sounds horrible, but this whole thing has just been very hard on me, and I'm sure it hasn't been fun for him either, but these are just the cards that I've been dealt with, and I'm trying to do what's best for me so that I can do what's best for our baby, and the quicker I can recover the quicker I will be able to be there to help him. Edit, I spoke with his mom and she understands that it's best for him to recover at least the week while he's at his house, or at least until he's not completely bedbound. My mom has been with me and I'm not alone. He wouldn't expect me to do anything for him and would try and be as self-sufficient as possible, but he almost completely wiped out in the kitchen the other day trying to clear his own plate. He did also have a major surgery and will need some help that I currently cannot provide him with, and I just want what will be best for him. As for the people who think AITA for the way that I spoke of my husband, I love him with my entire heart and he is a good husband and a good father, and I am aware that I definitely do hold a bit of resentment surrounding the entire situation and the entire labor and delivery process and recovery, which is just one of those it is what it is situations, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. I feel bad that he's in pain. I genuinely would never want to see him in pain, but due to everything that's happened I don't have the sympathy to give. Like hearing about how 8 hours of sleep doesn't have him well rested, or how he's so uncomfortable it's hard to sleep, as if I haven't been dealing with that for half my pregnancy. I'm also a new mom and my hormones are all over the place trying to adjust to everything. Not looking for any sympathy for myself, I just wanted to know if my feelings and reaction to any of this was valid. Update: a lot of the comments are crapping on my husband or being dismissive of his pain, which was never my intention from making this post. The other half of the comments I'm seeing are crapping on me for putting this out on the internet or for not having any sympathy and comparing our pain. I understand he is in a tremendous amount of pain as well, and that his recovery is going to be a long one. I hate to see him in any pain at all, and I do feel bad for everything he is going through, but it's hard to have sympathy when this all could have been avoided in the first place and the timing of it all was just awful. I read as many comments as I can and appreciate everyone giving me an outside perspective on my situation. I'm really struggling mentally, emotionally, and physically, and I'm sure that he is too, and I'm hoping that we both can recover soon from all of this. Top comments. Not the a-hole, you are not physically able to give him the help and care that he needs. Your priority is yourself and the baby. He needs somebody who would be able to help him, and that's not you. Would his mother be able to bring him by the house for an hour or two a day to see the baby? He sees the baby still, but it wouldn't be up to you to help him. OP replies. I would go to him if I could drive, but I can't drive for the next 6 weeks. The problem is he needs to stay in one place because traveling in a car and having to deal with all the steps to our house is not going to help him. His parents live in a ranch-style house and I know it will suck for him, but I'm really pushing for him to stay there for a week, but I don't think he would want to stay there for even a couple days. It's all just really hard and an unfortunate situation. Not the a-hole. You shouldn't even be out of bed yet. Is he able to walk at all? Sounds like you both need help. Him going to mom's is a partial solution, but you still need help postpartum. You shouldn't even be lifting anything heavier than your baby or navigating stairs or any walk longer than bathroom and back. OP replies. That's why I've been struggling so much, because I've been forced to be constantly on my feet, bending over, sitting up on my own, because he hasn't been able to help me during this process at all before his surgery. He would help by putting his foot up and changing the baby's diaper or holding the baby, but I haven't had any help with my own recovery and am in a lot of pain. Besides the C-section, I pulled my back out from all the pushing I did before they got me in the OR, and it's just been really hard. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.